The LA Rams went from champs to chumps. The reigning Super Bowl champions went tumbling down to the back of the pack. And this has opened up a can of worms. A can of worms here has been opened up, as I think you might know where I'm going with this, but maybe not. Maybe you're out of the loop. You're not paying attention. Maybe you've missed it. So the speculation about the face of the franchise, that would be the coach, Sean McVay. We've learned that Rams coach Sean McVay has announced that he will take the next couple of days to really be able to reflect before he decides whether or not he will quit as coach of the Rams. Little soul-searching, introspection, deep thinking, all of those terms, as he tries to figure out what is next for Sean McVay. McVay said that he actually asked himself a question. He says, do I love coaching? He said, hell yeah. He told the media, he says, have there been a lot of things that have been that have made it a challenge to and a strain because of my own self-inflicted things? No question about it. Close quote. McVay has been very upfront with the media. He's been flirting with television. He says that he does not plan on chasing any records, NFL coaching records, does not plan on being a coach forever. Some have asked about chasing the all-time wins record, with which Don Shula has, and Belichick is chasing. McVay, because of his age, would have a chance to do that. He's been in the NFL 6 years now. He did say recently that he'd be interested in that transition to television, and the latest reporting is that McVay is going back and forth and back and forth. He's pacing back and forth and back and forth, and he's depending. Now he's debating what to do. Now some of the dramatic reporting is a little much for me. It's a little much. I'm rolling my eyes at this stuff. You know, it's like, oh, it's so tough to win the Super Bowl. Oh my God, being courted by TV offering you tons of money. And then they brought up the fact that he's getting married and that his wife's from the Ukraine and the invasion in the Ukraine, that's factoring into Sean McVay's the decision whether he's going to go to TV or not, and all this other stuff. There's a lot of malarkey. There's a lot of malarkey attached to this. So let us discuss the question. How do you dissect this Sean McVay story with where we are right now? So I've got my dissection kit. It's like a frog. We're going to dissect. Just like Georgia dissected the Horned Frogs in the national championship game, I'm going to dissect this Sean McVay story. I've got Frankenstein, taste buds, and cherry picking. And we'll combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a very expensive trip to the day spa. Doesn't Sean McVay look like a guy that goes to the day spa? He does, right? Yeah. We also heard he's into the vaping, right? He likes to vape. He's a vapor. Yeah. How about that? All right. Anyway, so we'll begin here. Listen, we're all creatures of our environment, and Sean McVay, you got to remember, this guy was hired out of left field. He doesn't come from the wrong side of the tracks. He came from some money, but the money that he's made as coach of the Rams is up, and away. He was the upstart coach who nobody had heard of, Doogie Howser, MD. The Rams were in such a deep, dark place. How deep a dark place were they? That Jeff Fisher had sucked the life out of the franchise. Sick and tired of 7-9, blankety blank. So the Rams turned the NFL upside down when they went out and hired Sean McVay. That's what has happened. He had no experience. He brought a childlike enthusiasm, bouncing off the walls like the Energizer Bunny. And he turned out to be a prodigy with the Rams. Wonderkin, ahead of his years. And now he's got disciples all over the NFL. He's got a better coaching tree than Bill Belichick, who's been doing this for like 30-something years. And McVay's already passed Belichick by in terms of coaching tree. 2 Super Bowl appearances. He got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, who's a bum. Won a Lombardi with Matthew Stafford. Everyone in Michigan said you can't win with Matthew Stafford. What are they doing? Went to Cabo, ran into Matthew Stafford, the legend is, and Stafford ended up coming to the Rams. Big trade, won a Super Bowl. McVay's got the trophy wife. He's got the hot wife. He's Richie Rich. But he's also a product of Frankenstein's lab. He was created via a witch's potion. McVay had no business being a head coach. If the Rams had done what they were supposed to do, they would have hired some offensive assistant who'd been around for 10 years, paid his dues and all that. Not McVay. But here's where we are, right? And so McVay's priorities have changed. That's the point of all this, right? Frankenstein's lab, witch's potion, and he's not the guy that he had been. You've changed, Sean McVay. He's living a much different lifestyle right now. He says he loves coaching. If you love coaching, why would you not come back to the Rams? You're in L.A., you're making tons of money, you run the franchise at this point, and you can do whatever you want. What's not to like about that? And if he walks away from the Rams, well, he'll be admitting that he's a spoiled dope. That's what McVay will be announcing to the world, that, hey, I'm a spoiled dope. I'm Sean McVay. If you leave this situation, you're raising the white flag. You're giving up. You're a quitter. I'd like to think that Sean McVay is not a quitter. And this idea that the Rams are going to be in a terrible situation forever and ever is just stupid. If the Rams wanted to, they could trade Aaron Donald and they could trade away Jalen Ramsey and several other players, and they'd get tons of draft picks. And all you people horny for the NFL draft would be all excited. And you'd say how the future's bright for the Rams because they have all these first and second and third round picks because they traded away their star players. And you'd be all excited about that, all jazzed up. So the idea that they're that far from, if they want to, they can trade these guys away and they can get players back in return and then start the whole cycle over again. But part of being a coach is the grind, right? These teams are like Jenga towers. You build them up to knock them down and then rebuild them. And I'm not happy because I'm getting the Aaron Rodgers diva vibe where he wants everyone to talk about him every year. And I don't need, if you're either in or you're out. Like, if you don't want to do it, then fine, go do television. Knock yourself out. And that's fine. But I don't want to, every year I don't need to hear this. I'm done. Either you're going to be the coach or you're not. Just quit. If you want to quit, quit. Become a quitter. Announce to the world, I'm a quitter. Get billboards. Say you can't handle it anymore. But every year, you're like an attention whore. I don't like attention whores, Sean McVay. Maybe you do. All right, secondly, why would McVay want to go do television? He's in his mid-30s. Why would you do that? I've always thought of the broadcaster as the middle-aged to older guy, the commentator on an NFL game. That's all. Mid-30s, you should be coaching. But there is a saying, right? Those that can't play coach, and those who can't coach become broadcasters. So that's usually how that works. And so when you take a couple of steps back, Sean McVay's lifestyle in a much different spot. But the biggest thing here, his taste buds have adjusted to the lap of luxury. And coaching in the NFL, you're held, when you have a bad season, people make fun of you. They goof on you. People call radio shows and say nasty things about you, and they post things online about how you're overrated and you're a fraud and all this, low information fan, the dump fan. So that's part of it. You got to do it. When you do TV, it's like, well, they love you. Whee! It's so exciting. It's so fun. It pays ridiculous. You can make more money or as much money doing television as you can broadcasting. Sean McVay, here's the other thing that we're not supposed to talk about. You know who Sean McVay's mentor was coming up in coaching? John Gruden. John Gruden, right? And Sean McVay saw how John Gruden lived the good life. He was the voice of Monday Night Football. He was beloved. He had the Hooters commercials. We're not supposed to say that part out loud because Gruden's been banned from polite society. But Gruden was the guy that looked up to or McVay was the guy that looked up to Gruden. Gruden was the mentor.
I call that the turkey hole.
Yeah. And so he got his start. McVay's first job as an assistant in the NFL was with Tampa Bay when Gruden was there. Chucky Boy was beloved. And then now you can't bring his name up, but people at ESPN worshipped him, the shtick of John Gruden. McVay's got that same quirky personality. He's upbeat, bounces off walls. So he's got the ingredients to do pretty well and handle the tools of ignorance, McVay, makeup, and a telestrator. But ultimately, broadcasting is just going to be a hideout. That's my theory on this. If he does go to broadcasting, it's a great escape, right? Rather than actually have to put some hard work in and roll your sleeves up. And he did do that when he came to the Rams at first, but now, as we said, he's in a different spot. McVay can lay low. He can bide his time, make tons of dough, never lose a game, and he's on his way. All right, final thought. So what will Sean McVay's roadmap be if he does end up going to television? So that part is easy. McVay makes a ton of money, right? Ton of money from Amazon or Fox. Rams control his rights because he's got multiple years on his contract. He goes to TV. He's in the catbird seat. He acts like Poltergeist. That guy Hayes in Minnesota would be impressed with this cat, Sean McVay, because he will haunt all current coaches. McVay will become the white whale pursued by many, but only one will catch Sean McVay, and he'll be sitting there and he'll be riding in the cherry picker, and he'll be cherry picking the next head coaching job he wants. Right? Hand pick the next stop. He can have just about any gig he would like, and Amazon, I've heard they're not real happy with Herb Street, that he's seen as a college football guy, and he's just kind of a placeholder because they couldn't get any bigger. But McVay could slide into Amazon and be the Thursday night face of Amazon. He'll get the free Amazon Prime. He'll get that. And Bezos and Lauren Sanchez will hang out with him, and they'll go to parties and all that. It'll be great, and he's got a blank check. So that's the option. Either stay with the Rams, and you're going to have to trade a bunch of players that you like who are good all-pro level players, and then get a bunch of draft picks, or just keep going down the path the Rams have gone and hope you figure it out with some mid-round draft picks and some
the lamb stopped screaming,
undrafted players and things like that. There are more than one way. There's more than one way to build the roster.